And welcome to episode 4 of the Primility Primer, our daily reminder of the power of balancing pride and humility as we go about our days. I'm your host, Jared Morris, and I'm very glad that you're here, either to watch or listen to this episode of the Primility Primer. Today, I want to talk about something that has bothered me for a while. And I was listening to the radio yesterday, and the guys on the radio were pointing it out. And it is the misuse of the word humility or the word humbled. And I was about to say the ubiquitous misuse, but it's not that bad. But it's something certainly in sports, in any type of award show, and even just as we go throughout our daily lives that we will often encounter, which is this kind of false sense of humility or an even incorrect sense of humility, which may just stem from not understanding the word or not wanting to seem too braggadocious. And so this word gets thrown out there. And obviously at Primility, we are studying the balance of pride and humility and what that can bring about in our daily lives. So it's very important that we understand what these words mean and use them correctly for us to truly know how the emotions that they describe can balance themselves out. So let's start out here fundamentally with just what the words humility and humbled mean. So humility, quite simply, is the quality or condition of being humbled. Okay, that's basic enough. So then what does humble mean? There's several definitions. I'll just read them out. Not proud or arrogant, modest, having a feeling of insignificance, inferiority, subservience, low in rank, importance, status, quality, courteously respectful, low in height or level, to lower in condition, importance, or dignity, to destroy the independence, power, or will of, to make meek. And what I love about that definition is that the very first part, right, includes the word pride, not proud. And then at the end, it says to make meek. Well, here's what we want is we want pride pulling our humility a little bit because we don't want our humility all the way on the end of the spectrum, which is meekness, which is where we have no confidence. We think we have nothing to offer. We truly are lowered to a position of subservience. That's meekness. That's not humility. Right. And so we need our pride to pull us up a little bit to help keep that humility in balance. Just like we don't want to be so proud that we're all the way on the other end of the spectrum of conceit, and we need our humility to help keep that in balance. Well, when you hear, let's take the example of athletes, right? And the reason the radio guys were talking about it was because of the ESPYs. And they often do a count on this radio show of the times that the word humbled is misused because you would not expect, depends on the situation, but for the most part, you would not expect people to feel humbled at an award show, especially if they're nominated for an award or if they win an award. That's actually the complete opposite of being humbled. Because for you to win an award and for you to get any kind of accolade and then to say that it's humbling, well, it can be humbling to be surrounded by greatness, and that's okay if that's what you mean. But for the award itself to be humbling, it's so humbling to be nominated for this award, to win this award. That means that winning the award itself pulls you down to a status of lower rank or makes you subservient, which clearly is not the case. And I think what's happening here is a false sense of humility is taking over. And instead of standing up and maybe saying something that could be seen as braggadocious or seen as overly proud, it's almost a defense mechanism to where people want to say, hey, I did all these great achievements, and yet I am stumbled. And I think that's good. I would actually much rather it err to that side than err to the side of just arrogance and just this pride running rampant. But I think it's done so often that people get the wrong idea of what humility is, what it truly means to be humbled. And of course, if we misuse words over and over again, the words fail to have meaning, because if they're not used in the way that they're intended or to describe the actual feeling or the emotion that they're meant to describe, then what do they mean? Then we can just throw any old word up there. And so I think it's important that when we use a term like humbled, I'm humbled, that we understand what we're saying. And that when we are actually in a position where we should be proud of our accomplishments and we've done something to be recognized, we don't need to feel bad saying that. We don't want to go overboard saying it, but we don't want to go so far to the other end that we completely misuse a word and almost say the exact opposite of what we mean. So if someone is watching this right now, I'm really proud that you're watching this. I'm excited. And I think I have something useful to say. And I think it's okay to feel that pride that you're watching this. Now, there's a sense of humility as well, because I want this to be useful. I want you to get something out of this. So I'm not here talking just for myself. That would be pride all the way. I want this to be a sharing of ideas over time, right? I want everybody who gets involved with this to get something out of it. And that describes the humility, which is thinking of other people and thinking of the group and not feeling apart from the group, but feeling a part of the group, an important part, but a part of the group that does not stand out over the others. And that's where that balance goes. And I think, frankly, when people say that they are feeling humbled in this way that doesn't really fit, I almost think they should be saying, I'm feeling a sense of primility right now because I'm proud of the fact that I'm here, but yet I don't feel like I'm standing out above the group. I feel like there are so many great people in this room that standing here right now, it gives me a feeling of humility because I realize that I won this award and it could have gone to so many other people. But to just say humbled, when you really look at the definition of the word and what it means and what it should describe, I think people are not saying what they really mean. And so just watch yourself. The next time that you use the word humbled, see if it's really what you mean, or see if maybe instead what you're describing is actually a feeling of primility, which is great, which I think is exactly what you want to feel because that's the balance that you want to have. It'll give you the power to stand up in front of the room, but to not also feel like you're better than anybody else who's not standing up in front of the room. And really, that's the goal. That's the idea, what we're trying to do here, because that will allow us to have the most positive impact possible on the world. All right. Well, that concludes this episode of the Primility Primer. And I want to let you know, I'll be back on Monday. So this is 4 straight days of doing this. I'm feeling good that I can keep this going. I'll be back Monday morning with another episode. And if you want to watch live, join me at primility.com/podcast-005. I will have the YouTube video embedded there. So as soon as I hit start broadcast and it goes live, you'll be able to watch it right there. And that's a routine that I'll get into. So you know if you're listening to episode 005 today, or then the next one will be 006, and you can just go to that URL and the video will be there waiting. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Keep your pride and your humility in check, and I will see you Monday morning sharp at 6:30 a.m. Central Time. Wrist bump.